You're listening to Puma Podcast.
Baka nahiya siya. I don't know. I mean, it's not about, my reaction is not about Sara, but about Philippine politicians in general. When did you last see a politician na nag-resign dahil nahiya?
You're listening to Teka Teka. And in this episode, we're having a conversation about unity, or actually, lack thereof. The Marcos Duterte alliance steamrolled over the opposition in the last election, and they steamrolled over the opposition with the clear promise of the unity. But now we find ourselves in a very different position. I'm joined by Puma Podcast Chairman Robbie Alampay
Magandang araw sa kanila lahat.
and Teka Teka Senior Reporter Bella Perez Rubio.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for having me.
Right. So this is going to be different than some episodes because it's just us talking. But first off, question, Robbie, what is happening with the unity? Ano ba nangyari dito?
Well, I think it's fair to say nothing that we didn't expect. Diba? The first thing that I wanted to qualify is yung sinabi mo na, we're in a very different situation. Diba? We started with unity. They campaigned on unity. They started the administration with unity, and now we're in a totally different situation. I think that's the official narrative, and that's the narrative that they wanted to put out there. But that's, I think, the reason that people are, on the one hand, taking this seriously, at the same time taking this with a smirk, is also parang alam naman natin eh. And even from within those camps, di ba? Even from more seasoned political observers, from the very start, people saw that and said that this was a marriage of convenience. This is par for the course for politics in the Philippines. And now we're seeing not just cracks, it's a complete fissure, complete split. So to say that it's totally different, actually, I think the first reactions that we're seeing all around is that no, it's not necessarily different. This is exactly what we were expecting.
So very specifically, no, we're recording this on June 20. June 19, nag-resign si Sara Duterte from her positions sa DepEd. And
NTFL CAC, chairmanship
okay.
ng NTFL CAC.
Okay, so these big appointments, and then on the same day, si former spokesperson Harry Roque ay naglabas ng statement na magbubuo ng opposition si Vice President Sara Duterte. Okay, so that's sort of where we find ourselves. The unity team is no longer united. Again, we're making jokes. Fair naman yata. But also, parang, what are people feeling about this? We're sort of news hounds, politics people. We're always on top of it. But I'm wondering, Bella, what are you seeing like online, or what vibes are you getting from all of this?
I think the prevailing feeling that I'm seeing online is not so far from, what we've already discussed. This is a formalization of something that we already knew was happening. Even the people who aren't that, as yoked to the news as we are, if you ask them about what's happening in the news that week, chances are they'll say something that has to do with the Marcos Duterte fissures, cracks. Now, I think, as you said, it's a clean split. So there is this, feeling of, yes, I guess from the horse race perspective, this is a big deal, but we already knew that this was coming. I'm seeing jokes, of course, a lot of jokes about, the promises they made that, they failed to keep. But yeah, I mean, I'm also seeing like serious reactions about what this means for DepEd. But I think the prevailing feeling is really, we knew this was coming. We've seen it. We've seen it happening.
I'm actually glad that you brought up yung DepEd kasi this comes on the heels of that PISA study that we are among the lowest ranked in all of those tested. And some people were initially posting na Sara Duterte's resignation was connected to this. Na parang, nahiya siya, so I guess kaya siya nag-resign from DepEd. But now this has a totally different political element. Robbie, did you want to chime in on that? What do you think of that?
Yeah, I'm always just riffing off of your words. So, for example, baka nahiya siya. I don't know. I mean, it's not about my reaction is not about Sara, but about Philippine politicians in general. When did you last see a politician na nag-resign dahil nahiya? Diba? So that's the first thing I would say. I'm not gonna answer my own question, but that is going to be my first parang nag-resign dahil nahiya. I don't know about that. I do think there's a real conversation about Sarah's performance as DepEd, because frankly, it was underwhelming. And she never
Sure.
even
Not
got past.
only underwhelming but scandalous.
And yes, and objectively, I mean, parang she never even got past the narrative from the start na actually hindi yan ang gusto niyang position eh. Ang gusto niya Department of Defense. And no matter what you say, you could throw numbers on education in the Philippines, but the fact is, in the public's perception, that narrative never went away. You had what? Where it's now 3 years. It's now going on 3 years. That you could have made your point. No, I'll make the most of this position. But every time she's in the news as DepEd, it's almost always not to do with the fundamental problems in education. It's about ibabalik ba ang ROTC? It's about kailangan ba natin ng intelligence and confidential funds para bantayan ng mga teacher at saka ang mga estudyante, and so on. So it was always in the context still of national defense. So that's something that, aside from the fact that we are seeing a lot of indicators na kinalulungkot na mga teacher, kinalulungkot na mga magulang, kawawa naman ng mga estudyante, and so on. And if even just by that, I think, I don't know if it's hiya that's led, and which is why I think
Yeah.
the shift immediately focuses to the other things, which is
It's the
the
politics.
politics.
Yeah, I mean, I'm affected by this, I think, as an educator dahil yung sense na parang lower position yung education when I want to believe. Obviously, in terms of politics and power, defense is there. But if you think about, and this sounds naive, but if you think about the ability to craft, the future, it's really in education, and that is something that was taken for granted, I
Yeah.
think. But that's just me and my vibes.
Ako,
Right?
let me just say that also. Again, I'm riffing off of your numbers, of your words, that baka mas mahina ang impact, mas maliit ang opportunity mo. But remember, if you just look at the numbers, not only the numbers, the Constitution, Department of Education is supposed to get the number one priority in the budget. So even defense, kung pag-uusapan lang natin yung resources mo, walang sinabi yan. If you talk about the number of people in your department, and not only at the national level but out in the fields, people who can champion for you if you do a good job, di hamak na mas maraming teacher kaysa sa mga sundalo, di ba? And then the direct impact on the lives of people. So even as a politician, and we're not politicians, we're not political scientists, but if you do the basic math, hindi naman biro yung Department of Education. Ang laki, especially coming out of COVID, coming out of a nadir in people's experience in education. Di ba, ang sabihan nga natin, pagdating sa COVID, nowhere to go but up. Di ba?
Yeah.
The economy at least is showing that. But sa education, you had every opportunity and more resources than anybody else to make an impact, and as a politician, to make your name.
Well, I guess the problem is you can't wage a war on ignorance and a war on illiteracy in the way that you could with all of these other things. But I want to move it to the next thing, which is like Bella's vibe said nga na, eto, we expected this. And the question really is, why should we care? Honestly, I have trouble caring about this story. And I think my opinion represents a fair number of people who were disillusioned by the last election cycle. They were promising unity. Medyo alam naman natin na they would not be united. We saw infighting early on. There's these factions within the Marcos administration, and then dagdag pa itong Duterte sort of getting involved, and the former President Duterte himself kind of talking smack about the current President Marcos. So ganyan. So Bella, para feeling ko ang gulo lang, and I'm wondering, like, for people of your generation, how are you guys responding to this?
Honestly, how I feel about this is how I've felt from the very first inkling that they don't get along. Kind of similar to you. I don't care if you get along or not. What I care about is what that means for governance. I think the whole promise of unity, I guess it, there are varying degrees of belief in terms of that promise in the first place. But the underlying promise of unity to me is that we're united, therefore we'll govern better, right?
Yes.
And I don't think we've seen that. You mentioned, the value of DepEd. Okay, maybe that's not what Sarah wanted to begin with, but she got given it anyway, and we're in the middle of an education crisis. She has the biggest
Mm-hmm.
budget. And, what does it mean that you were given this gargantuan task and 2 years later you're returning it to your ally, and that ally still bears the responsibility of, I chose to give this to you, right? So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I don't care if you get along or not, but you promised that you getting along would lead to better governance. Instead, what we've gotten is, the most reporting of infighting that I've seen in my career as a reporter. It's not that long, but I covered the Duterte administration. So the fact that, this is the worst
Yeah.
we've seen of infighting is kind of astounding for
Yeah.
uh, a tandem that won on the promise that we'll get along.
Yeah.
So yeah, I
Mm.
mean, for me, that's really the heart of this: is your inefficiency is on full display, and you ran on the basis of this is not gonna
Yes.
happen.
Hi. So that now that I've called out your youth, Bella, I want to call out Robbie's being seasoned in all of this. Sige nga, Robbie, give us some perspective on why we should care when it's very difficult for us to care about this.
Okay. Well. First, let me acknowledge why some people don't care. Di ba? Parang, I think there's a certain level of Schadenfreude, especially for people who did not vote for Uniteam, and that's obvious, di ba? Also, I think these same people who are not for Uniteam were warning legitimately na it's not real unity. Bukas natin mga mata natin, makita natin na, oy, darang ano mangyayari kung hindi totoong unity yan, di ba? And now, nakikita talaga natin. So let me acknowledge that. But then, the way I would put it is why I think everybody should care. Kahit sino pa yung binoto nyo. Is, one, remember, if at least you go by the elections. And I don't care for, our Monday morning quarterbacking, diba? But at the end of the day, this is the team that won. Which means, by definition, this is the team that more people care about than people who don't care, diba? Maybe more people are more disillusioned now, but at the start of it, mas marami yung bumoto dito sa team na to doon sa binoto ng mga taong now who will say that wala akong pakialam, a plague on both your houses, di ba? Okay lang yan. And then secondly, I think we should care because it's not their houses, di ba? It's not both their houses, it's our country. So we should care about that. And then third, I think we should care because, one, we've seen this in the past. I think Bella makes a good point na what's different about the unit team is they were the unit team. It's very rare in Philippine politics that you have from the same party, the president and the vice president. But we've seen it in the past where dahil magkaiba ang binoboto natin for president and vice president, one, it's personality based, and two, as we saw with Binay and as we saw with Lenny, the president and the vice president will not get along, and then therefore na-handicap yung gobyerno natin. And then the last reason that I think we should care is the politics. Di ba? You could laugh all you want at the two of them, but a number of scenarios there that can you easily brush off. One is, ganyan din magbangayan tong mga to before the elections nung 2022 eh. Di ba? And then with 4 months to go, nag-unite din sila. And then so feeling nagoyo yung mga maraming tao. Whether you voted for them or not, you felt like, we were too quick to bite into that na hindi sila magkakasama. So I think you still have to care because there's still a long way to go before the elections in 2020. Paano kung magsama ulit yan? Di ba? That's the first. And then second, kung hindi sila magsama, then and if you don't want to call Sara Duterte now the leader of the new opposition, then whomever you will consider the real opposition, I think there has to be questions there also because obviously ang isang implication kay Duterte and kay Marcos ngayon is will they cannibalize each other's supporters? But if they do, whomever you consider as the legitimate opposition, are they going to capitalize? Or are they also going to betray na, putya naman, nagkakagulo na nga yung kalaban nyo, hindi pa rin kayo nakaporma ng maayos. So I think these are just some of the things at the top of my mind, which is why I'm keenly watching this.
All right. Yeah. So I guess now I should care. I think it's very clear that these are things that even if I kind of don't want to, I do have to care about. And very briefly, let's close this out with maybe just 2 lines from each of you. My question is, so what now? Wala naman akong kinalaman sa kanilang dalawa, wala akong kinalaman sa partido nila, but there are things I care about. And those things that I care about, with my progressive politics, are things that they actually get in the way of.
Ang sa akin, I think it's more important to focus on the things that you care about. So I'll just end with yung our final point. If you care about other parties, if you care about other politicians, if you care about other prospective candidates and other causes, then I would channel my energies there na, uy, is this an opening? Is this an opportunity? And the people that I care about and the advocacies that I care about, are they in fact going to one way or the other find an opportunity here? Diba? And because it still focuses all of us towards 2025 and for that matter 2028. But remember your disappointment in 2022, and I'm speaking to the people that you represent here, diba? Parang you can't just say na parang ano ako doon and therefore well okay, then that's fine. Then you let these two then you let Uniteam in whatever form march to the next elections anyway, 'di ba? So ang sa akin, focus on who you care about and then ask them questions also. Anong ginagawa nyo? 'Di ba? Sara saying she's the real opposition. I don't want her to be the real opposition. Okay, sinong real opposition mo and what are they doing?
I think for me, my main takeaway from this is we just have to be better at holding our leaders accountable. Promises are being broken, and we're seeing that happening every day. The DepEd position, I think, for me, is the most concrete example. Whoever President Marcos chooses has to make up for so much lost time and rise to the level of this crisis. And I think whether we voted for him or not, he promised that this unity would lead to better governance, and he has to. I mean, whether we voted to him or for him or not, he owes us that. And I think this is a good time for us to exert pressure on him because he is facing so much public scrutiny over this. So we just have to be better about exercising that power.
Sa akin, I think there is a tendency to gloat. Ayan, sabi na nga ba eh. Or we know that they were going to do this. And so I think fair. I think we earned the chance to gloat, but after we gloat, we need to take action. And thank you guys for sort of giving us a frame to understand this and take action. So thanks for listening to this episode of Teka Teka. Thank you, Robbie and Bella, for having this conversation with me. If you found this insightful, maybe you have friends also who might want to know why they should care about the Uniteam disbanding. Paki-share naman yung episode. It would mean so much to us if you did. This episode was hosted by me, Carl Javier. It was edited by Pidoy Blanco with editorial support from our executive producer, Jill Caro. Make sure you follow Teka Teka on Spotify, YouTube, or wherever you get your podcast so you can continue to get slow news that matters to you.